Hello guys, welcome to Thermomix Adventures. Lisa here. Hey look, we have just come home and I'm ready to whip up a bit of a lunch and I thought I would show you how to do this. It is on my downloadable for the month, so go over to tmxingadventures.com.au and download the collection of recipes that I'm cooking through this month. While you're over there, do subscribe so you can get onto the monthly mailing list, and in the first month you get quite a few free resources into your inbox as well to help you with your thermomixing, so check that out. Anyway, let's get started on this recipe. I'm going to do it back to front, and I would actually suggest that you do this too when you have a go at making this. So usually it will start by steaming the chicken and veggies that I've got prepped in here. I'm going to show you how to make dressing, leave the bowl dirty, and come back and steam. So come with me today, let's scroll down, let's get started on this recipe. I'd love to know what you've been making lately, so do, as you're watching along in the replay and in the chat, do tell me what you've been making. First things first is we're making a really delicious cranberry dressing. So, dried cranberries, maybe you have some left over from Christmas. Perfect for this. I reckon you could do it with sultanas. Maybe not the exact same outcome. I don't think it'd be quite as delicious, but it'd be pretty close. And pretty close is good enough when you're making food from scratch, amazingly, in your Thermomix. Okay, next up we've got on with the lid, and we're going to blitz these down. So, next up it is 8 seconds on speed 9. So up to speed 9, we spin it really fast all the way up. Okay, I was told the other day my microphone actually cuts out at those high speeds where it's quite loud, which I thought was really fascinating. I have no idea on my end, obviously. All right, next up, scrape down the sides of the spatula. Check that out. How cool is that? I love it. I'm not going to scrape down the sides just because I don't want to. All right, 1 to 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. I don't have red, I've only got white. I'm going to guess, I'm going to actually pull up the scales. So those of you with a TM5 or a 31, you can bring up your scales by going to the top corner for TM6 people and going to scales. And then they've got scales. Now approximately 20 grams is approximately a tablespoon. So I'm going to go 20 grams. If you're on a TM5, it's across the bottom, you know where your scales live. You can click on that and it'll come up, okay? So there you go, 24 is close enough. So I'm using white wine vinegar instead. I seem to have about 5 different containers of that and no red. So I guess I'll have to put red on the shopping list. Next, it's one of those things I tend to never run out of for some reason. 70 grams of extra virgin olive oil. By the way, I reckon, just looking at the volume of this, I think you could get away, I'm just going to cut that short. I reckon you could get away with making a half batch of this. I think it's going to make a really massive amount of sauce, which is amazing if you like to have a lot. But if you don't, then you just want a little bit, I reckon you can make a half. Now next up, it's got a 1 teaspoon of Dijon, then it's got a clove of garlic. I'm going to jump ahead and just put that in so it's off my table. Dijon, here it goes. 1 teaspoon, yep. Always look at the second letter. If you get muddled up between your tablespoons and your teaspoons, or maybe you've got kids or grandkids who do, tell them to always look at the second letter. So it's got TSP, so ignore the T's, go to the S. S for small, and if it's tablespoon, TB. So look at the B, B for big. Big spoon, little spoon, yeah? Big spoon, small spoon, I should say. Okay, 1 teaspoon of that. Now I've got the garlic clove. It says half, I've chucked a whole in, whatever you'd like to do. And you know what, ideally, I actually thought about this later, if I had garlic paste at the time, I would have chucked the garlic paste in, or even garlic powder. I would probably use about a quarter of a teaspoon of garlic powder in the place of the fresh. Okay, a little bit of water, which is what, 1 to 3 tablespoons. I'm just going to guess and put a dob in. This is actually here to be my steaming liquid in a minute. That looks about right. And now let's blitz this up. While that's, oh, whoops, forgot the sugar and the salt. Of course that needs to go in. Here comes the salt, here comes the sugar. What's it got? 1 teaspoon of sugar. Of course you can skip this if you'd like. Totally up to you as to whether you include this. And you can also use, your alternative sugars and stuff as well. Some salt, and then I think some pepper. Next, yeah, some pepper. All right, now we're ready. We're blitzing this up, and while it's blitzing and you're watching along at home and cooking along to this, remember you'll need a jar or something to put this into. So I've got myself a little jar here. Hopefully it's big enough. I wasn't planning for such a large portion, but that's okay. 20 seconds, speed 8. Let's spin it up, and then we're going to move on to done that before. Oh, interesting flavour. All right, next. Now it tells us to transfer aside. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I love the emulsification of the Thermomix. Now, if you don't know what that is when your oil actually becomes a creamy product. It happens when we do mayonnaise. It happens when you make a proper dressing type sauce. And that oil literally aerates in with the fats, with what did we put in there? The vinegar and stuff like that, and it goes creamy. Like nothing in there except for the Dijon and the garlic actually had substance to it to turn it to that colour. Now, that's actually going to fit in my small jar. You might have seen me rearrange some liquid off while we were doing that a second ago. Now, those of you on Facebook today where I'm streaming live to, you will need to jump over and watch the end of this later on. I am going to show you how to get started on this next step. But I'm not going to stay online and show you steaming chicken and bore you to death for the next half an hour or however long it takes to steam that chicken. So if you want to learn how to shred chicken, do check out over on YouTube where I actually stick these videos all together, the finished product and how I finish this off, okay? So just those of you on YouTube, you'll always find my recipe library over on YouTube. So if you don't subscribe over there, go do that, okay? I'm nearly at 2,000 followers over there, or subscribers. So please do jump over there and subscribe. Okay, look at that sauce. Oh my goodness. Now, just a little FYI. Sorry, you can't even see it. Look at it. It will separate in time. Okay, we have nothing in our homemade foods that stop it separating. Store-bought stuff, they put things in there that actually make it stay together, make it hold its creaminess, I guess you could say. Whereas we don't in our homemade food. We don't have those additives and preservatives and stuff in there, thickeners. So just a little FYI, you may find in the fridge it separates. So you'll need to give it a bit of shake up. All right, well, let's finish this recipe. Let me show you how to do it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some steaming liquid in. So I'm going to jump back to now. I'm just looking at what they tell us to do. Yeah, they're assembling it. So let's come back to our recipe details. Let's start back at the beginning. And as I said, I would suggest you start with the sauce as well. Okay, make this first because then you can use your dirty bowl. So 500 grams of water, in it goes. Now you can look at the scales obviously, but we also have the dots up the back of the bowl that indicate the half a litre, the 500, the 1000, the 1500. So you could always just look at them. I've gone close enough's good enough, okay? Next up, place the Vorwerk into position then. So this, we need our lid on. Take out your measuring cup, okay? Then we're putting our Vorwerk in place. And it tells us to put into our Vorwerk base sweet potato, okay? So it says 160 grams. Now I may have misread that and I thought it said 500 grams. So I did 500 grams. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna hugely affect the outcome here. And then it tells you to put in, there's just a substantially lot more than planned. Then it tells you to slice out nice and thinly some leek. By the way, the sweet potato is cut into pieces that are 2 to 3 centimeters. I've kind of done more like a 1.5 centimeter kind of size. So it will definitely steam even though I've got more. That was just habit, not because I read the instructions. Leek, it does say thinly sliced because this is not going to get blitzed down at all, okay? So season with, now I did do this. You need to season with it some oregano, some cayenne pepper, a pinch of coriander and drizzle with oil. I haven't drizzled with the oil, so I'll do that now. And then on our Vorwerk top, now a couple of tips, our Vorwerk tray, all right? Let me talk to you about this. So it says to place the tray in position, which is this bit here, and then slice up some chicken. Now if you don't do chicken, you could do fish. If you don't do fish, you could do more veggies. You could do cauliflower, you could do like cauliflower steaks. You do mushrooms. This would be beautiful with a whole lot of different things. Obviously, if you're moving to something like mushrooms, you're not going to shred it at the end, okay? You're going to just toss it together as a beautiful fresh salad. So on with the tray, skinless chicken breast fillets cut into thirds. Now, I didn't do that. My opinion, and as much as this recipe is amazingly star rated, is you're going to have to cook it longer if you've got massive chunks. My rule of thumb with chicken on the top is it needs to be the width of my finger. So when I'm slicing, and this is fine, when I'm slicing, I slice it about the width of my finger. And that always then cooks in the designated time. And the beautiful thing about Thermomix cooking is you're cooking with liquid, steam. So it just gets softer. It doesn't dry out like if I overcooked it in the oven. So that goes on. It asks for the same seasonings as before, the oregano, the cayenne. Oh, actually, I did swap cayenne for paprika because my family won't eat cayenne. Coriander. I don't like green coriander, but I like the dried, so feel free to do the dry, it's amazing. If you're you know, don't like that green, feel free to do the dry, it's different. Put the lid on top. And this is literally going to steam now for 15 minutes of aroma, speed 1. So off that goes. Okay, welcome back. This has just sung me to say that it is done. It says to actually refrigerate that chicken, but we don't have time. Kids are hungry, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to show you how to shred chicken instead now. So I'm just going to move this aside. What I didn't do is bring a bowl to put the waste liquid in, the steaming liquid. I might just transfer that into a jar or two, because there's no point cleaning your bowl out. It won't matter that there's a bit of that residue from the beautiful cranberry dressing in there. Won't matter that there's a bit of chicken juice cooked in there. That'll be perfectly fine. So don't worry about having a dirty bowl, so to speak. That's just going to add to the depth of flavor, which is pretty cool. So tells you to put it aside to rest so that you get a really nice shred. And then it asks you to put your cooked chicken in. Now, typically, if I was just going to manually shred this the way I would have with my TM31 or my TM5 before guided cooking, it's reverse, speed 4, 4 seconds. Okay, that's your shortcut. This recipe's a little different. Still has reverse on, I think. I think it's just a little shorter but faster. I think I just lost a piece on the floor. Oh dear. Okay, insert the measuring cup in the mixing bowl lid. Grab that there. And then go next. You might notice a bit of water on my screen. It doesn't damage your Thermomix screen, okay? This is not like a mobile phone. It's really resistant, okay? So 3 seconds, reverse, speed 5, okay? So I'm going to spin that up to speed 5. Off it goes. And here it's going slow because it's a safety feature. Now, a couple of little thoughts. You guys know I like to teach you actually around what I'm thinking about why I'm doing what I do with the Thermomix. My sweet potato is cooked perfectly. If you had larger chunks of sweet potato in there, I would be concerned that they would not be cooked in the desired time, okay? You may need to hit the back arrow and repeat that step. Mine being that I had them smaller, skinnier, about 1 centimetre wide and a little bit longer, but not, what did it say, 2 to 3 centimetres? I didn't have them that big. I think you'd struggle to have them cooked in that time, okay? So a little FYI on that. If you're ever manually shredding chicken, so you're putting it on pizza or something like that, or even meat, pulling pork or lamb or beef, you just do it on speed 4, reverse 4 seconds, okay? Okay, so baby greens, done, straight out of the veggie patch. Then we're gonna put, look at that, shredded meat. Costs a fortune at the deli and you can make it yourself so quickly. All right, so, yep, so we've done that. Next, then it tells us to, okay, you might notice it's not responding because that screen is damp, okay, in spots, and it thinks that's a finger. If you've got a dry cloth, wipe it off. I'm just using my hand till I find which bit it's confused with. Okay, next, come on, there we go. Add some radishes, I'm gonna skip that. And then we're just going to put it all together. I'm not even going to bother stepping through. So asking for my chicken onto my greens. And obviously yours would probably be cool unless you're in a hurry like me. I didn't put all of it on. My bowl is not going to hold the capacity of it all. It's then asking for some of our sweet potato. Well, actually, it's asking for all of it. Remember that I put way too much in. It's supposed to be 130 grams or 150 grams. I put 500 in. So I might keep some of it aside and just serve it on plates. Okay. So some of that on here as well. You can see those leaves starting to wilt. Probably the only downside to doing it hot is you are going to get some wilted leaves in there. That may or may not bother you. It really depends. We're about to eat this, so I'm not too stressed about that. Remember, you've got the beautiful leek in there as well. So if you do have a lot like me, make sure you get some leek into it. Then we've got some feta. Okay, some beautiful crumbled feta. Blech. All right, you can tell I need food now when I can't speak clearly. And then finishing off with the beautiful pink dressing. So let's do that now. Excuse the fingers. Oh, you can see how thick and luscious that is. How am I going to get that out? All right, yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to trickle that across. It looks beautiful. I reckon you could put some, and I might even do that. I think I've still got cranberries here. You could probably even put some whole cranberries on as well. So, where's that packet? And it's done. If you want to make it a bit more contrasty in colour, which, you know, if you're taking it somewhere, this does serve 6. You could be putting some diced up shallots on top, some green onions, so you've got that real contrast of color. But otherwise, check that out. There you go. That is your shredded chicken and sweet potato salad, made easy and simply in your Thermomix. No need to go buy this out when you can make this yourself with standard ingredients that you probably have in your freezer and your fridge. Maybe not the feta. You can learn how to make that on my cheese course though, so go check that out at TMXing Adventures. Scan that code, it'll take you over, and then you can go courses. But you know, you probably have sweet potato, you probably have some greens, you know, you might or might not have cranberries. That might be the only thing. I would actually say go grab some though, because look at that pink sauce. It is just divine. So that's it from me today, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Lovely inspiring you to get more out of your Thermomix. I can't wait to show up tomorrow and help you continue to get more out of your Thermomix. If I can help in any way, don't be a stranger. I'd love to hear from you, what you're making, what you're struggling with, or help you get a Thermomix if you're in Australia. I am absolutely honoured to be able to do that as well. But otherwise, guys, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.